Rattlesnake Island by Edna Floretta. My name is Amelia. When I was 13, my favorite thing to do was roller skate and go fishing with Grandpa Simpkins. Actually, when I was 9 years old, I went to my mother in tears and asked her why she didn't name me Charlie. My mother gasped. She explained to me that when she was pregnant, Grandpa Simpkins always called her belly Charlie. Whether you believe that I've heard this in the womb or not is up to you, but I have an even greater tale to tell about 1985, age 13, Grandpa Simpkins, and Rattlesnake Island. It was Tuesday in June, and Grandpa Simpkins picked me up to go fishing early in the morning. When he passed the bait store without stopping, I asked him why. He explained, "Today we are going on a special mission. It's a big secret. You have to keep it between us, at least until you're older. Then maybe you can write about it." My heart beat. "What is it, Grandpa?" "You will see," he smiled. We got to the boat. He had me go to the trunk of the car. It was full of groceries and some newspapers and magazines. He asked me to help him load it to the boat. Then we were off. Grandpa handed me a sandwich and a Hawaiian punch can that Grandma always sends on our fishing trips. "Where are we headed?" I asked. "Rattlesnake Island," smiled Grandpa. "What's there? I've never been there before." "You will see, dear. You're gonna love this. Trust me," he smiled again. Then Grandpa lit a cigarette. He smoked with one hand and steered with the other. It was a beautiful day on Lake Erie. All the seagulls seemed to follow our boat. My hair blew in the wind. Grandpa had the boat full speed. A little over an hour passed. We were close to the island. "Remember, Amelia, this is our special secret." He pulled into the dock that was located in front of a blue cottage. There were 5 people waiting at the dock. They seemed to glow with joy. "You must be Amelia," said a large, bald Mexican man. "Oh, we are so glad you came. Help us get the groceries into the cottage and we will introduce ourselves." I was so intrigued by the strange mix of people. Besides the Mexican man, there was an elderly white woman with long gray hair. There was a young woman who appeared to be from India, a black man with a strange accent, and an elderly Japanese man. We handed them the groceries. The black man helped us out of the boat to the dock. "Welcome to our special home," said the elderly Japanese man as we entered the humble cottage with chairs outside facing the west. "Sit down, Amelia, and I will make introductions." As the others put away the food, smiled the Indian woman. "My name is Anna, which in India means to exist. The bald Hispanic man is Caesar, which means piercing of eyes. The black man is Hagos, which in Ethiopia means joy. The elderly woman is Gertrude, which means spear and strength. And finally, the elderly Japanese man there is Rai, which means thunder and lightning. We hired your Grandpa Simpkins to run errands on the mainland for us." Rai sat down and held my hand. "Honey, we are angels." I giggled. "What?" "Yes," chimed in Hagos. "Fallen angels. That's why we are missing our wings." I giggled again. Then Grandpa explained. "What they say is true. God sent an angel disguised as a human to rent this cottage from a Catholic priest for the summer. Then that same angel came to explain my mission planned by God." He winked. I was totally blown away. I thought they all must have planned this huge joke on me. A white cat rubbed on my leg, purring. "We brought her with us," said Gertrude. "Her name is Luce, which means light." I started to look around. My eyes stopped at a picture on the wall. Not what I would expect angels to have. It was a witchy woman with a crow. "I bought that," smiled Caesar. "It's a print of Picasso's Woman with Crow. God loves Picasso." I still wasn't sold until I saw on the table a 1-foot square plexiglass cube. That is our Earth vision, dear, explained Rye. We call her Evelyn. You can look into the square and see anywhere on Earth. You just focus your mind. Give it a try, smiled Gertrude. Why don't you think of your Grandma Simpkins? This is so weird, I thought. But then I looked at Evelyn and put Grandma in my heart. She appeared just like a movie. She was sitting in her favorite chair, crocheting and watching TV. There she was, plain as day. I about fell off my chair. Let me explain this all to you, our dear Amelia, said Hagos. We are angels who have fallen from God's grace. We were sent to earth to complete special missions to earn our wings back. While on earth, we have to eat and drink of earth, just as a human does. We lost our wings, but with Evelyn and the help of your dear grandpa, we are hoping to spend the summer earning our way back to heaven. Caesar chimed in, Yes, we each have a special mission. We each have an assignment to help someone in need in Ottawa County, Ohio, someone on the mainland. We cannot return until all of us have completed our special assignments. Anna spoke. Grandpa Simpkins is personally delivering our letters to the mailboxes of those we are trying to help. We are keeping track of the progress through focusing and activating Evelyn. I about fell out of my chair. I looked at Grandpa and he smiled and winked. What they say is true. There is a heaven, and we are in a cottage with God's fallen angels. You see now why we must keep this a secret? Wowzers, I thought. Grandpa said I could write about it someday. Yes, smiled Rye, but not until you are the age of 49. Why 49? That seems so long. Because, Amelia, when you are 49, there will be a great plague come to earth, followed by great healing and spiritual growth, spoke Hagos. Then Gertrude held my hand. You are to publish it as a fictional story. It will be just one of your many writings that are meant to teach truth. Me? I'm a writer? Yes, Caesar jumped up with his arms open. And an artist, and musician, and actress. But stay humble, dear. Your life will be very difficult. But remember you chose it that way in order to be an even brighter soul when you return home to heaven. We call that the chiaroscuro of the soul, using dark to highlight the light. Just then a teapot whistled on the stove. Rye asked me if I wanted some hot green honey tea. I said, yes, please. Anna said, you can't drink tea without crumpets. She sat a plate in front of me. What is God in heaven like? I asked. Hagos answered, God is pure love, both male and female. Actually, he made human souls in his image, so we are all both male and female when we go to heaven. Souls reincarnate in a particular sex in order to what they wish to experience. And as for heaven, it is beyond your wildest dreams. It is your true home, but we dare not say much more, so do not ruin the surprise. When you come to earth, you go through a veil of forgetting. Yet the more you raise your vibration, the more glimpses you get of your true self and true home. Dreams are often the gateway to remembering. Gertrude then tapped the Earth Vision called Evelyn. Caesar's mission was our first project. Would you like to join us to check in on it? Absolutely, I smiled. They all stared into the plexiglass cube. A 3D movie appeared of a woman sitting on her bed crying. She was reading a letter. I had your grandpa deliver this letter to a woman named Sue Ellen, who lives in Rocky Ridge. It says, God sees what you are going through. This is your guardian angel, Caesar. I want you to know your husband will not change. All of heaven cries every time he beats you, especially in front of your children. God will have mercy on him, for this is what he learned from his father. It's time now to teach him a lesson. Heal yourself and save your children. There is a secret house in Port Clinton, Ohio, that takes in abused women and their children. I am enclosing the address. Please pack your most precious belongings and flee to this place of refuge. I will be with you there, giving you strength, and you can stay there until you find a job and get financial help to make it on your own. The caseworkers are very helpful and well trained. You will like them and feel so much better. But you mustn't ever go back to your husband. He needs to learn a hard lesson. Then maybe he will turn to God in the future. Again, this is your guardian angel Caesar. I know your favorite color is purple, and your mother used to pull your teeth by tying a string to your tooth and a doorknob and slamming the door. I've been with you always. Please believe in me and trust my words to you. I love you. Wow, I said. Yes, dear, life can be very hard, said Gertrude. She's been reading this letter for days, trying to get the courage to leave. She cries every day, says Anna. We are trying to send her love and courage so she can make a change in her life. Life is all about choices. Even those who live in countries that are controlled by the government still have free will in their thoughts and deeds they choose, smiled Rye. Grandpa Simpkins said we would have to get going soon. Caesar sat down to write another letter to Sue Ellen to be delivered. He wrote, My dearest Sue Ellen, I can see you crying and reading my letter over and over. Please have courage. I will send you a sign. Go outside in the mornings to drink your coffee on the porch. The day a butterfly lands on your hand is my sign that it is the right day for you to leave. Love always, Caesar. Grandpa took the letter. Anna spoke. My dear Amelia, your grandpa is to come here once a week to bring us groceries and pick up letters. How about you come too every other week? You can keep track of our activities for your book. They all came at a time to give me a big, sincere hug, the most sincere I've ever had. They walked down to the boat and waved as we pulled away. As the wind blew through my long hair and the smell of Lake Erie filled my lungs, my heart soared. What had just happened? I had always thought my Grandpa Simpkins was so very handsome, and he always treated me so nice. I was so in love with him when I was a little girl that I wanted to marry him. I am not surprised God chose him for the special mission, but why me? I've always felt socially awkward and unsure of myself. Wow, just wow. The universe is more amazing than I had ever dreamt. Grandpa married Hilda. Her parents came to the United States from Syria. Her mom died when she was young. Her dad remarried. She ran away from Pennsylvania as a teen and went to the East Coast. That is where she met Grandpa. He was there in the Navy. He rode in submarines in World War II. He was a boxer and amateur photographer. They married. They moved back to Ohio and had 6 kids, 4 boys and 2 girls. Grandpa worked on cars his whole life, and Grandma was a waitress. When he retired, they moved into a trailer park in the Tucson area along Route 2. The trailer was small but full of love. His boat was docked at Floral's Marina, just down the street from the trailer. Grandpa said he was a hillbilly, yet he had lots of Native American blood in him from both his mother and father. He smoked cigarettes constantly, and so did Hilda. Grandpa loved country music, especially the old classics. He loved to play poker. He was always drinking either coffee or beer. I loved my grandpa so much. He must have loved me too to trust me with this huge secret. As I watched the water, I thought of what the angels told me of my future. Am I really an artist? My mind was racing. This day would change my life, and hopefully the lives of people who will read my story someday. What would become of Sue Ellen, I wondered. I'm sure glad she has a guardian angel. I suppose all humans do. I'd gotten a glimpse of the bigger picture, and big it was. I couldn't wait to return to Rattlesnake Island. When I got home, my mother asked how many fish I caught. Oh, they weren't biting today, I smiled. Time dragged, then 2 weeks seemed like forever. Then Grandpa called and picked a day when the weather was clear. We were off again to visit the fallen angels. I helped load the groceries. The boat ride was longer this day. The lake was a bit rougher. My heart raced in anticipation. Again, they met us at the dock. I couldn't contain myself. Caesar, what happened to Sue Ellen? The butterfly landed, and she packed and drove her 2 children to the shelter house in Port Clinton. She is getting lots of help now. My mission is complete. Now Anna is working on her mission. Come on in and we will show you. We sat, and Rye gave me a lemonade and 2 slices of watermelon. Anna explained, Amelia, there is a 12-year-old boy living in Oak Harbor who is suffering greatly. He cries himself to sleep every day because he is gay. The kids at school call him names and push him around. He is hurting so badly. His name is Gregory. Come look at Evelyn and I will show you. We all looked, and an image of a cute boy with blonde hair and pretty blue eyes appeared. He was lying in his bed weeping. He thinks by liking boys he has forsaken God, and God will send him to hell, explained Hagos. How can we help him? I asked. I'm going to send him this letter, Anna said. She handed it to me to read. Dear Gregory, this is your guardian angel, Anna. I see you every night crying yourself to sleep. Please believe it is me. I know you so well. I know you keep a pair of your grandpa's shoes under your bed because you miss him so much since he went to heaven. I want to tell you to love yourself. God made you perfect. You are not bad and will not be punished for being yourself. I know that humans' religions teach otherwise, but this is not God's heart. Long ago, the Native Americans had a word for boys and girls who were gay. They called them Berdachi. This means two-spirited. They believed they had both male and female spirit inside them. They were highly respected because they were gifted and spiritual. This is God's truth. You see, when you came to earth many times before, you were always a girl. So inside, that is how your heart feels. You are very brave to be born a boy this lifetime. Let me tell you a bit of your future. I know life is so hard now, but when you are 18, I want you to drive to Toledo and go to a bar called Caesar's. It is a drag queen bar. You are going to love it and meet many friends who will love you. You will move to a bigger city and start your own restaurant. It will be very successful. You will love your life, and when the time is right, you will meet a life partner. You two will be able to marry. In the future, the marriage laws are going to change. So please, my son, stop hating yourself and stop wishing to die. I'll always be with you and will make sure this comes to pass. God loves you very much, so please be brave and always be true to yourself. Love, Anna. I was crying by the end of the letter. This is so beautiful, Anna. Does God really love Gregory that much? Oh, yes, my dear Amelia. Grandpa, you got to get this letter to Gregory. He winked and took the letter. There were fresh flowers on the table, and I saw a ladybug crawling on one of the flowers. God is great, I thought. Luce jumped in my lap and started purring. Gertrude got out a guitar. She started playing it. What she sang was so lovely. She sang, Lay down in the grass and look to the stars. It's the smile of God from afar. All that you loved and will always be, so be yourself and be free. You are one with the stars and all of nature made to show you your beauty inside. And God says, Be mine. And in time, we shall all drink wine. We couldn't stay long that day because the lake was rough, so we headed back to Flores Marina with Gregory's letter. When we finally got to the mainland, Grandpa Simpkins took me to the Dairy Queen. He bought me a vanilla cone with sprinkles. I'm so glad I have you to share this secret with, Amelia. You are a good girl, he smiled. We pulled into the dock. Well, 2 weeks passed. Each day I thought of the angels. I was so excited when Grandpa telephoned to tell me he was picking me up to go fishing the next day. We loaded the groceries. Then Grandpa took something out of his pocket. It was a deck of playing cards. A gift for the angels, he smiled. We pulled into the dock. I quickly jumped out. Anna, you must tell me how Gregory liked his letter. She gave me a hug and said, Well, come on inside. As the others put the groceries away, she explained, He cried so very hard. We watched through Evelyn. We could see his aura go through so many emotions. He kept the letter under his pillow and read it every night. Then one day he woke and asked his mother if he could take tap dancing lessons at Class A Studio in downtown Oak Harbor. His mother, guided by her angels, agreed. She called Violet Fox and signed him up to start right away. Do you want to see? We all looked at Evelyn. Inside appeared a picture like a movie. Gregory was in the studio taking private lessons with Mrs. Fox. He was catching on quickly. Irish music was playing, and he had a huge smile on his face. Then the image faded. Rye set some green tea and honey and some strawberry cake in front of me. Food for the soul, he smiled. A storm is coming, said Hagos. You should stay until it passes, smiled Gertrude. I looked at the image of the woman with crow and asked, why didn't you bring a picture of Jesus? All art is sacred to God, said Rye. God is not any religion. Those are images of man. He is all of it, plus 1,000 times more, said Caesar. The woman with crow looks like a witch, I said. God is the biggest witch of us all, pointed out Gertrude. Grandpa Simpkins set the deck of cards on the table. A gift for the angels, he smiled. Great, said Anna. We can play some rummy until the storm passes. That is after we discuss Hago's mission. Mine has been joyfully fulfilled. What is Hago's mission? I asked. Oh, it is a tough one, said Caesar. We all looked at Evelyn. A girl appeared in her early 20s. She had long blonde hair, green eyes, and tattoos on her arms. She was alone in a dark room and sticking a needle in her arm. This is Rachel, said Hagos. She is 22 years old. She lives alone in a tenant motel in Marblehead, Ohio. When she was a teenager, her boyfriend raped her. She had a secret abortion. Then she started running with the wrong crowd. She made her money selling drugs. She couldn't forgive herself, so she started shooting heroin to make the pain go away. She hates herself. That is terrible, I said with a sad face. Look at her sunken face. She is killing herself, said Anna. What are you going to do? I asked. I'm going to have your grandpa deliver this letter. Here, read, said Hagos. It read, Dear Rachel, this is your guardian angel Hagos. I've been with you your whole life. I know it hurt so bad when your mother died and your father got drunk every night. I see the silver heart locket you always wear with your mother's picture inside. I saw what your boyfriend did to you. That was wrong. Unfortunately, on Earth, humans make mistakes. He will have to feel the pain he caused you when he returns home to God. I know you chose not to have a baby at age 16. I saw you crying out for your mother as a heavy-set black doctor in Toledo suctioned the fetus out of you. Oh, Rachel, please love yourself again. The baby that was inside of you returned to God and was born to another mother who was prepared to raise a child. You're not going to burn in hell. God loves you. He loves everyone. All humans are a part of God. I see the needles with heroin that you're putting into your arms. My dear, dear Rachel, your mother can see this too. You are breaking her heart. I'm enclosed a phone number to Rehab Center in Cleveland. If you call the number, they will come get you. Their center is very good, and they can help you stop this addiction. They have counselors who are good listeners, and they have benefactors that will cover the cost of your recovery. So please, please call them. Your mother's sister, Aunt Betty, has been praying every day for you. It is okay to go stay with her when you get out. I want to tell you of your future. God wants you to have a good life. He wants you to go to college to work as an ultrasound tech. You can care for the new babies coming into this world. You will meet and marry a nice man who treats you with respect. And there are 2 twin boy souls who wish to be born to you. This can be your life, so please stop hurting yourself and call the number. You've suffered enough. I sent you a sign the other day. Remember the snake you saw outside your door? It was not a bad omen. It was a snake like you have tattooed on your arm. It represents new growth and shedding of old skin. I love you, Rachel, but you cannot continue on this path. The drugs will kill you. Remember when she took you shopping and bought you that pair of zebra-striped tennis shoes that you loved so much? This is real. Please choose life. All my love. Hagos. I was crying again. Why does life have to be so hard? I asked. Rye answered, when you come to Earth, it is a great learning adventure. There are angels to guide you, but God always allows free will. The things that are bad help you grow, so that when you return to heaven, your light is even brighter than before. But what about the really bad people? I asked. They too return to God as they are one, but they have to go through tough schooling when they return to atone for their sins, frowned Gertrude. But then they will return again and work out their karma, said Anna. Thunder and lightning came, and the awesome fresh air of Lake Erie storm filled the cottage. Please stay for dinner. Ryan and I can cook while the rest of you play cards, said Anna. What are you cooking? I asked. Lamb and rice. Doesn't God get mad at us for eating animals? I asked. It is not wrong if you do it with respect and are thankful and honor the animals who feed you, answered Hagos. But the farms who are inhumane to the animals are very bad. God is not happy with this, spoke Caesar. It is honorable to be a vegetarian, but it is your soul's choice. No way is right or wrong, said Rye. Grandpa started shuffling the cards. I sat down with Hagos, Gertrude, and Caesar. We played 3 rounds of rummy while dinner was cooking. Hagos won the first round, then Grandpa won the last 2. He was always lucky at cards. Dinner was delicious, and Rye lit some candles and said a blessing. We had to get home before dark, so we were back on the boat right after dinner with Hagos' special letter to Rachel. Please get this to her door by tonight, he said. It is my honor, smiled Grandpa. As we were leaving, there was a giant rainbow across the whole lake. Rainbows are one of my favorite things in nature, but there are so many wonderful things. You just have to open your eyes to it, Amelia, said Grandpa. I prayed every night for Rachel until Grandpa took me to go fishing again. We packed the boat with groceries. Grandpa put the food that could spoil in 2 large coolers with ice. We rode most of the ride in silence, enjoying the fresh air in the moody lake. When we arrived, I was anxious to find out about Rachel, but I waited until we got inside the cottage to ask, Hagos, how is Rachel? What happened? She received the letter and read it and wept. Then she went to the store and bought a bottle of wine. She drank it and read the letter over and over. Then she stuck a needle in her arm. But the next day she awoke, ate some food, and dialed the number I gave her. Did they come get her? Yes, she is having a rough time detoxing, but she will get through this. She has already called Aunt Betty. So whose mission is next? It's mine, said Gertrude. Here, look at Evelyn. We looked. An image of a man with dark hair and a mustache appeared. He was well dressed and inside a nice home. He was staring at the fireplace mantel at an urn and weeping. Come, Amelia, let's you and I go on the dock and I will explain, said Gertrude. We went to the dock and sat with our feet in the water. His name is Richard. He lives in a gated community in Catawba called the Cliffs. He lives there with his wife. He works as a doctor in the ER of Magruder Hospital in Port Clinton. Richard is very distraught and angry and crying lots. His father, who was an English professor at the University of Toledo, committed suicide. He hung himself in a study. The urn he was looking at contains his father's ashes. Richard is very religious and thinks his father is going to hell. He is very hurt because he loved him very much. He is so angry that he left his mother and him just when he felt it was time for him and his wife to have a baby. He is going through so many emotions that he had to start taking anxiety medications. Wow, that is terrible, I said. What are you going to do to help him? Here, read the letter. The letter read, Dear Richard, this is your guardian angel, Gertrude. I've watched you your whole life. I was the one who sent your friend to help you study for exams when you were considering to go to a party instead. I know what happened to your father, and I see you crying when you look at his urn on the mantel. First, I need you to know your father is with God. It is a man-made notion that people who commit suicide go to hell. It's just the opposite. God sends their souls to a special place with extra love to help them heal. I can help you now understand why this happened. Your father's father was always away at work and never gave him attention. When he was home, he was abusive to his wife and kids. His difficult childhood left him with the mental illness of bipolar. He was very good at hiding this. That's why you didn't know. His lows got worse and worse until he couldn't take it anymore. He loved you and your mother very much, but he was suffering terribly. I have a special request that will help you heal. Dig a hole in your backyard and pour his ashes into it. Then I want you to plant a weeping willow tree. As it grows, you will look at its beauty and remember how much He loved you. Your father has asked God for a special request. He knows you and your wife are getting ready to start a family. He asked if he could return to you as your firstborn child. He hasn't decided on what sex yet, so whether you have a boy or a girl, it will be your father's soul. Please help heal his soul by giving him a loving and happy childhood. That way he can live out a full life without any mental illness. Please know this is real. It is I, Gertrude, your guardian angel, sending this message. I know of a black and white wedding photo of your parents that you keep in your wallet. So go forth with love, faith, and hope, and heal yourself now, dear. All my love, Gertrude. I know, Amelia, this all is a lot to take in for you at such a young age. But you are an old soul and a teacher. We will give you copies of all these letters before we leave, so you can write it into a story when you are 49. You're going to have a very hard life yourself, but only the bravest souls are born into such difficulties. Please always remember God's love for you. You yourself are going to think about suicide many times, but that is not what you should choose. For if you do, you will have to see played out all the opportunities and magic of life that you missed. I started crying. Why is life so hard, Gertrude? Because that is what it takes to get to a higher vibration, my dear. This is not your true home. Your true home is pure love. You will glimpse it in your dreams. Gertrude held my hand. Remember, we are always with you. Do you want to know your personal guardian angel's name? Oh, yes, I said. His name is Dale. You are very gifted, and you will learn how to have conversations with us in spirit realms when you are in your late 20s. There is a teacher who will come to you. His name is Arthur, and Melvin, your spirit guide, will talk to you all the time. This sounds crazy. You must believe. We sat and listened to the water and the seagulls for 20 more minutes in silence before returning to the cottage. Gertrude gave Grandpa the letter. How is he going to deliver it when he lives in a gated community? I asked. Rye answered, we showed Grandpa the hospital parking lot while you were gone. He is going to leave it on Richard's car. Okay, good. It is such a beautiful message, I smiled. They all gave me hugs, and we were back in the boat on the way home. We were going to stop at the trailer before I take you home. I've got some clean walleye fillets I bought from my friend. You can give them to your dad to cook up so your parents don't get suspicious. Winked Grandpa. 2 weeks passed, and I thought of my angels friends hiding on Rattlesnake Island every day. I was so happy when Grandpa called to ask me to go fishing again. It was a moody, overcast day, but Grandpa said the lake was calm and no chance of rain today. When we arrived, we loaded the groceries into the cottage. I asked immediately if Richard had received his letter. Oh, yes, smiled Gertrude. It was a success. Not only Rye is left, and we can all earn our wings back. God will set a day for us to return. What is Rye's mission? I asked. We all looked at Evelyn. There was a bearded man with tattoos smoking outside his home. This is Gary. He lives in Genoa. The factory in Toledo where he worked all his life just closed. He is 42 years old, and his wife has cancer, spoke Rye. Oh, this is terrible. Why is life so hard? I asked. Earth is hard, that is true, said Caesar, but there is another realm working with each human every day. It is also magical, but most don't believe. Humans need to evolve and behold truth. I asked if Rye had written a letter. Yes, here, take a look. The letter read, My dearest Gary, this is your guardian angel Rye. I see you are going through a hard time. I want you to know you are not alone. I see you cursing God, yet God is still loving you. Your wife Carol is very ill. Do not question God's timing. Soon he will call her home. Your children, especially your youngest daughter, need you now so badly. Please stay strong. I see you outside smoking and cursing the heavens. Please know I'm holding your hand. I know you do not believe in anything beyond what you can see. I will put in special things in your path to change your mind. Do not despair about the factory closing. Now you can be by your wife's side as she transitions. I know you think you are too old to be hired in a new job, but God has a job ready for you when the time is right. You will enjoy it much more than your old job. Pay attention to nature. God is here. No, it is true. I'm so sorry you are hurting. Your sorrow will burn a path to a new horizon. Your father who passed is all around you, watching you, talking to you. So please listen. He wanted me to tell you it is okay to sell your motorcycle to pay for Carol's medical bills. You will be able to purchase an even better one within a year. He also wanted me to tell you he is throwing a party for Carol's arrival, a big barbecue, and Uncle Harold will be playing his guitar. She will be in good hands, so don't worry about Carol after she is gone. Spend these days loving her and comforting her. God will see you through this. I left a feather on your motorcycle seat so that you would know I was here. This is not a hoax. Keep this letter to give to your children someday. You will know when the time is right. Like the setting sun that you watch each night, it always returns. All my love for you, always, Rye. Will he believe it's you, a real angel? I asked. Not at first, said Rye, but I will work hard to prove it to him. I will make him a believer. This is my challenge and my honor. Rye smiled and gave me a big hug. You know, Amelia, life is a lot like fishing. Sometimes you have good luck, sometimes bad, but you have to keep throwing in a line, knowing it's not about how many fish you caught, but spending time in nature and with God and appreciating his beauty, said Hagos. Anna gave me a glass of chocolate milk and a bowl of vanilla pudding. We are close to earning our wings. God will arrange the day and time. You must come with your Grandpa Simpkins to witness our return and to say goodbye. You mean I will never see you again? You will know when we come to visit you, but you won't physically see us until you return home, honey, said Gertrude. I began to cry. It's okay, Amelia. Here, I want you to have my special painting to take home. Caesar took Picasso's print of Woman with Crow off the wall and gave it to me. Then Gertrude handed me copies of all the letters to keep. Remember, said Anna, do not write the story until you are 49. Yes, I said. Okay, I promise. Hagos gave me a special box to keep the letters in. As our boat pulled away, I gave thanks to God for choosing my grandpa to help the angels. Grandpa came by the next week. September 1st, he smiled. I am taking you camping overnight, he winked. September 1st arrived, and I packed an overnight bag. Grandpa picked me up at 10, and we were at the Blue Cottage by noon. We get our wings tonight, smiled Rye. How is Gary? I asked. He got his letter and hid it in his dresser. I have to work him through this. I will make sure the signs are too many to deny. I will make him a believer. We sat down for lunch. Your grandpa is going to take our clothes and things to donate them to charity, said Anna. Yes, we will be taking Evelyn and Luce back with us, said Caesar. Grandpa asked if anyone wanted to go for a boat ride around the other islands before leaving. Anna, Hagos, and Rye nodded yes. We saw many birds. I told them the story about when I was fishing with my dad. I felt something on my pole. He told me it was nothing. Finally, I reeled it in, and there was a clam on the hook. Yes, Amelia, you never know what life will bring you, smiled Hagos. That's a funny story, smiled Anna. We returned to the cottage, and the others were preparing for a fish fry for dinner. Grandpa had brought some Lake Erie perch and batter. He also brought potatoes to make French fries. Gertrude had the radio jamming to some oldies on AM radio. I thanked Caesar for the painting and told him I hung it over my bed. I then said I hid the box of letters inside my closet. We know, said Rye. We saw you inside Evelyn, he smiled. The fish fry was a great success. We all had fun chatting about heaven and its influence on the earth dimension. The fish and fries were delicious. We put the perch on buns with tartar sauce, and as the evening approached, Caesar and Hagos built a bonfire in front of the cottage. They sat chairs all around it. We all sat outside to watch the sunset and stare into the fire. Your good deeds in helping us will not be forgotten, smiled Caesar. Rye brought out some marshmallows. We found some sticks to roast them in the fire. What time did God say you could leave? I asked. At the sacred hour of India, 11 p.m., said Gertrude. It was now 9 p.m. My heart raced with excitement. 10:30 p.m. came, and wings slowly appeared on all the angels, growing until they were majestic in size. They were still all seated around the fire, talking and laughing. Caesar shook his wings. "Feels good to be whole again," he said. At 10:45 p.m., the angels stood side by side in front of the cottage. Rye was holding Evelyn, and Gertrude was holding Luce. A great light from far away shone down from the sky and surrounded them. At exactly 11 p.m., they flew up into the light. Grandpa and I stood there crying. As they disappeared, so did the light. All that was left was the fire. Grandpa and I took a seat. "Can you believe what we just saw, Amelia? You must promise to do as the angel said and write about what took place here on Rattlesnake Island, 1985. "I promise you, Grandpa." We slept in the cottage on the bunk beds. I had a beautiful dream that I was wearing an emerald bracelet. The next morning, we cleaned out all their belongings and left over food and trash. We loaded the boat. I told Grandpa, "Last night I dreamt I was on a camel in the desert, and it began to rain. The monkeys were dancing in a circle around me. I was wearing a beautiful emerald bracelet that felt like it had belonged on my arm for eternity." Grandpa said, "I dreamt of my father. He handed me a rabbit and said my blessings are many, that I was rich like honey." We rode back to Floral's Marina in silence. We both just were absorbing the beauty of Lake Erie. When he docked the boat, a bald eagle swooped down overhead. "Wow, she is beautiful," I said. "Yes, it is a sign. The angels are home," said Grandpa. This will be our special secret, Amelia." "Sure, Grandpa." Grandpa Simpkins died in 1996. He had a stroke and was in a coma at a nursing home. I was crying hysterically. I went for a drive out to the trailer to see Hilda. Along the way, I saw beautiful wildflowers at the side of the road. I pulled over to pick some for Grandma. I got to the trailer and she wasn't home. I left them on her porch. She called to say the flowers were beautiful and she put them in a vase on the kitchen table. She said there was a caterpillar on one of the flowers and she left him there. The next day she called to say the caterpillar was gone and she was scared he would crawl into bed with her. Grandpa lay lifeless in a coma. We all went to see and talk to him and hope he could hear us. Someone brought in Patsy Cline's CD and played it for him. Grandpa lay there for 2 more weeks. He died on September 1st, the same day the angels got their wings. Hilda said she found a monarch butterfly in her trailer that day. When he died, he was surrounded by some of his sisters, Hilda, and some of his children. His sister Joanne said she heard angel wings coming down the hall just before he took his last breath. The day of the funeral, I slept with my mother in bed. I couldn't stop crying. I was heartbroken. That night, I felt an angel over the bed. She was putting her wings around us. Grandma Hilda gave me Grandpa's favorite fishing pole. It was striped red, white, and blue. My father took me fishing. I was so excited to use Grandpa's pole. I was certain it would catch me a big one. Dad stopped the boat in the middle of Lake Erie. I put a worm on the hook and cast Grandpa's pole. I sat it down and turned to get a drink out of the cooler, and just like that, a huge fish pulled Grandpa's pole down into Lake Erie before I could grab it. I cried the whole way home. His pole was gone forever. I knew there had to be some kind of lesson in this, but I was too sad for it to reach me. As Gertrude had predicted, my life was very difficult. All kinds of art poured out of me as a way of coping. Dale and Melvin and Arthur all came to me, just like she said they would. In 2003, I ended up catatonic in the state mental hospital. I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, which is schizophrenia plus bipolar. Gertrude was also correct in knowing many times I would consider ending my life. Things were so hard. It's now 2021. I am 49. I have gained over 120 pounds on antipsychotic meds. The COVID-19 pandemic has taken over the world. Many people have died. I personally know 6 people who have lost loved ones. I live in Oak Harbor, Ohio, in a complex of misfits. The elderly and people with disabilities live here. Woman with Crow is hanging over my bed. I never forgot the summer of 1985 and Rattlesnake Island. So I finally wrote the story like I promised. And if you are reading this, I guess my hard life was worth it. My name is Amelia, and I talk to angels.